Hey, what's up, everybody? Crapgamer here, Crapgamer Reviews with another video. Thank you guys for checking it out. So I had a little bit of time and I thought, hey, why not go ahead and do a video because there was a couple of pieces of information that came up. And I thought, hey, why the heck not, right? It's not exactly a crappy Monday, but maybe a crappy Wednesday. I can do one. Um, you know, I know I do Xbox Nation tonight, and that's everybody. That's why I'm only going to cover a couple of these topics here. And then I think it's always fun to talk about the other stuff with the whole team and stuff like that, which we will do in a little bit. So no doubts it's going to be a good show, and there is a lot to talk about. So I'm very excited about this because this is one of the reasons why I delved into building my own PC and talking about this stuff and just kind of getting a handle on what's going on in the world of gaming and tech and this kind of stuff. So this is pretty cool. If you guys do get in here, please like and share it out. I would appreciate that. LG Nemesis, I think, is that the question you had asked earlier? He says, with the government dipping their hands into loot boxes and seeing how much money Fortnite is making or money gaming as a whole is making, do you feel about Bernie Sanders streaming? Bernie Sanders streaming? Is he? I don't know exactly what he's doing. What's Bernie Sanders doing? I'm out of the loop when it comes to a lot of this political stuff. So, just kind of wondering, with not that I get really political or anything, but would be awesome if you guys wanted to do that. So yeah, thank you guys so much for checking it out, stuff like this. And I do want to cover all these topics and stuff. Doom and gloom. No, it's not doom and gloom. Listen, the Xbox Scarlett's going to be fine. PlayStation 5. Oh, he started a Twitch channel and is planning on streaming and already has 11K followers. Well, I mean, that's just one of those things, man. I don't really have an opinion about like the stuff one way or the other when it comes to the politics. I just like to kind of talk video games. But hey, whatever floats your boat. I mean, that guy has, obviously a following, I guess, younger people or whatever. A lot of people like to be handed stuff or whatever. So I guess those type of people would follow that guy. Free stuff anyway. But I wanted to talk a little bit about this because it's the news of the day. Supposedly the PS5 is insanely powerful because the first benchmark has supposedly leaked 2080 RTX level performance, which is quite impressive if you think about it. And it's one of those things that, a lot of people are going to be talking about over the next couple of days. Pretty impressive stuff. Do we believe it? Heck, I don't know. Where there's smoke, there's fire. And when there's no smoke, there's no fire. So obviously there's going to be a lot of discussion about just how powerful PlayStation 5 is. I think PlayStation guys want that power crown. Xbox guys want the power crown. I think it's more important for the Xbox to get that power crown for the specific fact that if they don't have the power crown, what does Microsoft have? Because they sure as heck don't have the quality content that PlayStation has. So basically, PlayStation benchmarks have leaked online courtesy of a Twitter user, /insider, who has a good history of sharing benchmarks and inside news, which I did link this in the description, so you guys can feel free to check that out anytime you want. Sony's next-gen console is using an AMD APU according to leaked PS5 spec results. AMD Gonzalo APU is comparable to a high-end PC. The Gonzalo APU Firestrike results show that the PS5 outperforms the RTX 2070 and AMD Vega 64. Holy crap. This thing sounds like a beast, like it eats monsters and things that eat monsters for breakfast, for lunch. Wow, incredible stuff. Really incredible stuff. Seems like Sony's going all in with this, and wow, that just sounds pretty damn incredible. Whoa, J-Force Games. It's not my speculation, my friend. This is speculation that is on the internet. That thing that we all have access to. That's right. So, yeah, specs supposedly on the internet, nothing to do with me. I'm just talking about it. That's it. Don't get it confused. I know how people like to do that. So yeah, base PS4 score. Well, they go over to like the base PS4 score. Okay, but I can give you this because it does go to show how much more powerful the PS5 could potentially be if this is accurate. Base PS4 score is under 5,000, while Gonzalo was able to hit 20,000 plus. So that's pretty incredible. So they have a list on this article that I listed what some of these high-end GPUs from NVIDIA and AMD can actually perform. RTX 27 is 18,103, Vega 64 19,200, GTX 1080 19,370, PS5 Gonzalo 20,000 plus. RTX 2080 is only 21,892. So the only graphics card that could potentially outperform the PlayStation 5 Firestrike benchmark is the RTX 2080. NVIDIA top of the line RTX 2080 card is one of the most powerful in the world, but it costs around $700 to $850 depending on the make and the model. So, we've heard a lot from Sony when it comes to what the PlayStation 5 is going to do. And again, it's speculation, but I do like to think that where there is smoke, there's fire. And I feel like the PlayStation 5 is going to be pretty damn powerful. You can lock that in. Sony's not going to mess around. They really kind of took the brunt of some of the jokes and stuff later in this generation. Why? Because they hyped up power in 1080p, and then Microsoft came out with a more powerful console. And that's just the way these things go. If you think about it, we have to look at what Microsoft was able to accomplish with the Xbox One X. Let's not take any credit away from them. They stopped that narrative completely, right? Hey, let's stop the narrative where, let's talk about nothing but resolution, 1080p, all that kind of stuff. They were able to do that, and I think that that's pretty damn incredible on their part, because the minute that they announced that, nobody was talking about 1080p or any of that stuff anymore, and I think that that's an incredible piece of narrative to get rid of, right? So Microsoft totally got rid of that narrative, and what we have now is very much a situation where it looks like Sony has decided to kind of fight back in that power space, and you know what? They have the games. So if you look at it, that would be a big problem for Microsoft. If this is true, again, we don't know, but a lot of people will point to ray tracing because that is like the new buzzword, and I think that a lot of people are banking on the fact that maybe the Xbox Scarlett would have better ray tracing. But we did hear from a developer yesterday on the Gaming Bolt article that the PlayStation 5 does have ray tracing hardware based, and that they're going to see tons and tons of lens flare on the PlayStation 5. So also the Eurogamer / Digital Foundry breakdown of Scarlett did mention that it's likely they bet their money on the fact that the PS5 will also feature hardware based ray tracing. So we have that to look forward to as well. If we're hanging our hats, if you're an Xbox person and you're hanging your hat on Xbox Scarlett being the only one doing hardware-based ray tracing, you might want to rethink that a bit or not put all your eggs in that basket. If you're an Xbox fan, hey, focus on the things that make Xbox fun for you, the ecosystem, maybe your friends, the achievements, the controller, Xbox Live, because it sure probably isn't going to be some big advantage in the hardware space, and that's something that we're just going to all have to deal with. I saw your IGN Rod Gears 5 interviews. I didn't like it at all. There's something wrong with Gears 5. I feel it. Well, here's the thing, man. I think Gears 5 is going to be great. But the problem is when you're promising all these changes and say we went in a different way, which, by the way, if you guys wouldn't mind liking this and shared it out, I would appreciate it. I definitely do think that would be great. So basically, I saw Rod do a couple interviews about Gears, and what he's done is supposedly taken some risks with this game, but he's not showing us the risks until the game is basically coming out. So that is a little worrisome, but I still think the game is going to be great. It's Gears. I think, I'm going to play in the beta when the multiplayer beta comes out. That's what I care most about. Hopefully the campaign doesn't suffer anything like that. Richard Luna says, Crap, what kind of job do you do for a living that you can take a break and do live chats during the day or even a weekday? I actually am off more during the weekdays than the weekends. I do dog training, animal rescue, but my days start incredibly early, and so I am done pretty early. Usually I can be done and home by 12:30 on a slower day, and I like that because it allows me to do other things, including videos and live chats and stuff like that. So for the most part, I work almost all weekend. Like if you guys watch M&C, that starts usually around 11:30, 12 o'clock now, basically because I have to get up and work incredibly early. I usually have to leave by 4:35 to be able to get back in time to do that show. And yeah, so that's basically and I'm able to do that. That's my day-to-day job. I work, doing that. So it's not like a 9-to-5 thing. If I did a 9-to-5 thing, I'd never be able to do what I do. So basically the Radeon Navi best base graphics of PlayStation 5, according to this, which again I linked, will be able to run video games at 4K 60 frames per second. Here's the thing. Microsoft and the Xbox Scarlett are basically using the same thing. And according to the Digital Foundry article, and they're kind of tearing down and they're guessing and talking about both Scarlett and the PS5, they're both almost identical. I guess they have different hard drive solutions, which I saw Xbox One 4K mentioned that he doesn't believe the no loading time thing. I don't know. They showed off the Spider-Man thing in a video before, and that was basically no loading time. So you have to kind of take their word for it at this point until, we've actually seen something from that, right? They showed it off. Microsoft, on the other hand, hasn't. They have their own proprietary, hard drive solution as well. So we'll have to see. So, I'm all for less load times. I think load times are one of the biggest ways to kill immersion in video games. And so if it is true that they can completely eliminate them, man, I'm all for that. And I know, trust me, when these companies talk about 8K and 120 hertz, there's no game that's going to do 8K 120 frames per second. They're going to be able to output up to 8K. So that way, if somebody buys an 8K TV or 8K TVs take off in the next, 10 years, you'll be able to output on these consoles, much like the Xbox One S can output 4K, but cannot do 4K. So I think that's what they're talking about. And then we're also going into a time where variable refresh rates on TVs are becoming more and more popular. So we do have variable refresh rates to kind of keep in mind. I don't think we're going to get 120 frames. Definitely not. We're going to be getting 60. And then with variable refresh rates, probably like some trickery and stuff like that, we might be able to get some of these. But, man, think about 4K 60 frames per second. That's going to be incredible, because even according to this, the RTX 2080 struggles to maintain 60 at 4K oftentimes. But you have to keep in mind, right? So as someone who has built his PC recently, you have to keep in mind that PCs always have more in the back end than consoles, right? And games are specifically tailored to consoles. So we have that to kind of keep in mind when it comes to developers. Like, they make stuff specifically for a console. They have one specific target to hit, or maybe two, depending on how many versions of these consoles are out. But bottom line is, these games can be well tailored to consoles much more than, say, a PC. So you could have a PC, with an RTX 2080 and not be able to do 4K 60 consistently, basically maybe because the game isn't optimized correctly for that. Whatever. If you have like a PC, they're difficult. They're not difficult to make, but a lot of these aren't. They got to cover such a wide gamut when they come out with a PC game, right? Like, oh, so we got to cover someone with some kind of crappy loadout, and then someone with this really expensive, $1,000 loadout or thousands of dollars loadout. So, it's one of those things you have to keep in mind when it comes to console gaming. One of the things I love about console gaming is the fact that these developers make these games specifically for the hardware, and therefore can take advantage of it. Of course, we get instances where that doesn't happen. If you look at the new Crash Bandicoot game, racing game, I like that, which, by the way, Yobi hooked me up with that. I love that game. It's great. But why is it 1440p, 30 frames per second on the Xbox One X and the PS4 Pro? That's something that I'll never understand. Why wouldn't they take full advantage of what the Xbox One X can do? I can guarantee that the X could have got 60 frames and 1080p out of that game, which I probably would have rather had. The game looks good, but you could definitely feel the 30 frames in it in a kart racer. So I don't understand why they would go for the 30 frames in that game, in my opinion. LG Nemesis says 8K is just future proofing, just like 4K with the base Xbox One when it came out. Exactly right. Oh, okay. TwoFace says it's cool UNZ patch things up, but y'all are right about the next Xbox. Is it wrong for me to want them to put more games on PS5? PS has better games, but I'm an Xbox guy, but they're killing me. TwoFace, listen, bro. Yeah, me and Z patch things up, man. We're cool. I hope to actually do some more things with him in the future once I can get a little bit more time and something. Maybe me and him can do a show, just us two, once a week or something, and maybe bounce around on my channel, his channel, stuff like that, go back and forth. But for me personally, I actually am in your camp. I wish that Microsoft, if they're going to go ahead and publish games on the PlayStation or on other systems like they are with the Switch, go ahead and publish your games on PlayStation. Sony, let them publish their games on your console. You know why? Because then you're going to be able to see that you're going to be able to successfully just totally kill off the Xbox console. And, Phil Spencer is wrong about that whole thing where he doesn't believe that that consoles sell games or whatever, right? Or that console sales matter. So actually, if PlayStation were to have Gears and Halo and Forza natively, and I could play them on a PlayStation 5, you would not need an Xbox Scarlett, and I would not have an Xbox Scarlett. So I'm just letting you guys know, kind of keep that in mind. For me personally, that's how I feel about it. I feel like Xbox has had its ups and downs, but at the end of the day, Microsoft has kind of ruined a little bit of the brand for me with some of this. Let's put our games everywhere and not really focus on our console gamer core. But I want to keep into this stuff for right now anyway. For me personally, how I feel about it is just how some of you guys feel about it. I want more games. When I follow Phil on Twitter, it seems like whenever he talks about stuff anymore, it's PC related. My Xbox YouTube channel just talked about, just did a commercial for the PC bar or whatever. There's a new article about Microsoft might be serious about PC gaming this time. And Phil comments on that, and they comment on streaming. And they, for me personally, I'm just saying I'm not sure that they're all in on the console space. Supposedly they canceled one of their next gen consoles in Lockhart, and I think that's a good thing. But the whole reason they announced two consoles at the previous E3 in 2018 was to, quote, prove that consoles are alive and well and that they believe in them and they're going to have consoles going forward. And then the fact that they've already possibly canceled one of those doesn't thrill me with confidence and let me believe that they're going to do some interesting things in the future. I think we're going to have a console this generation. I'm not sure about future generations. I think that it's all going to come down to how well the Scarlett does. If Microsoft decides to publish on PlayStation, if they decide sometime during the next gen to publish on PlayStation, I would tell you 100% there will not be a next Xbox, because it doesn't make sense to make a next Xbox if you're publishing all your games on the competition anyway. I just feel like that's a smart thing. Making hardware is expensive, and you make 30% off the sales of your games anyway. So I don't know that they would continue to make the hardware, and hopefully that isn't the case. I like the Xbox hardware, I actually prefer it, and the controller and online and stuff like that. But if they're going to go ahead and publish their stuff on PlayStation, there won't be anybody left on Xbox to play against anyway. So, that's just how I kind of feel about it. I'm not sure exactly how you guys would feel about it, but if you guys hear, please like and share. Z and Crap in the evenings, exactly. Invite Z to Xbox Nation Summit. Yeah, I should. I gotta hit him up and see what he's up to. Be honest, bro. Next Doc says, if you sold your job like Phil talks about selling the Xbox consoles, how would your business do? It would do crappy. I'm not gonna lie. Look, guys, PS5. Don't kid yourself. PS5. These guys that are out here hyping up Xbox Scarlett, or maybe they hyped up wrongly Xbox Lockhart and said Xbox Lockhart is gonna. The Xbox Lockhart's gonna win us some. Could secretly win the console war for Microsoft. None of that's happening, right? The PS5 is going to jump out to a 15, 20 million lead, and they're going to coast to over 100 million PS5 sold, and they're going to sell a ton of software. Next E3, Microsoft flubbed and waited and held on to announcements till next E3. They're going to come out next E3, and they're going to be like, well, here's Halo Infinite, and here's Forza Motorsport 8, and here's Fable. And they're going to think that's going to win people over. But Sony, on the other hand, is going to be like the next day is going to be like, here's Horizon Zero Dawn 2, here's God of War 2, Spider-Man 2, here's this Uncharted that you didn't even know we were working on. But they have a new San Diego studio with ex-Naughty Dog people working specifically on Uncharted games. So they're going to come out and blow Microsoft out of the water next E3. And Microsoft is only going to have themselves to blame. They do this to themselves all the time. They get people excited for things and then continually smack us in the face when it comes time to actually sort of show off or announce these things. How many E3s? Like, I follow Kratos on Twitter, right? Funny guy, really knows how to push people's buttons. I don't take it seriously. I think it's funny, but he showed like searches for Phil Spencer and what Phil Spencer has said about each E3, right? What I mean by each E3 is the last like 4 or 5 E3s. And each of the last 4 or 5 E3s, Phil Spencer has specifically been quoted as saying, this is going to be our biggest and best E3 yet. We're going big. We, you know what, lots more exclusive. We promise more exclusives this E3 than last, even though the last one didn't have any either. So, you know, they say a lot of things. It really comes down to what they've actually delivered, and they have failed to deliver anything that really gets people excited. Unfortunately, there is no reason to own an Xbox. In my opinion, if you didn't own an Xbox this entire generation, I don't blame you. I do not blame you. I liked it at the beginning. There was some great games. I had big hopes because we started off, you know, with Rise and Forza and Dead Rising and Titanfall, and they showed off Sunset Overdrive, and we were getting Halo and Gears. That sounds great. It does. It sounds amazing. But then when you realize that literally a year and a half into this console generation, they completely stopped AAA game, new AAA game IP creation. A year and a half into this generation. Think about that. You literally start a generation in 2013 in November, and then by 2015, you have no more new IPs that are AAA that you announce the rest of the generation. How is that doing business for your fans? How is anybody supposed to like or trust that you're going to continue to do anything for them? I have zero trust that they want to make a AAA new IP that is not Gears, Forza, Halo, or Fable in the future. I'm sorry. I know they have these new studios and things like that, but who would be sold on these new studios when a lot of them are AA anyway, right? So I think that there is potential there, and that could change, man. Maybe they'll blow my socks off next E3. Who knows, right? I kind of doubt it, but maybe. And you know, I would think that, you know, I would take my words back too. I'd be like, holy crap, they proved me wrong. But unfortunately, we are so many years away from getting anything from them. I think that I'm safe for the next couple of years anyway. So what about Phil Spencer saying Xbox is not a free speech platform? Well, he's right. You know, if Xbox isn't a free speech platform, the problem is who polices this? You know, like, I get it. You know, you want to be inclusive, I guess. And that's cool, man. I'm all for it. I think anybody that can game should game or whatever, but we have party chats. There's a way to mute people. I don't think you have to go and tattletale and do those type of things. Xbox Pope says might need to change my name. Crap. So yeah, I'm with you. You know, for me personally, I think that there isn't really free speech per se on a platform that's privately owned, but they are kind of taking away what we had. Remember back in the old day, they used to have like, you could be underground or this or that. Now they're kind of taking those things away. And, you know, trash talk is what Xbox Live was built on. Like, I get that there's people that take it too far, but who's to say it's too far is the problem, right? If you have all digital games and you run into a team that just decide, and you take a dump on this team, and you don't even have to be in a chat with them, but they all decide to report you, you could end up, you know, having your thing banned, and you wouldn't even be able to fight it. You know, that's the problem with it. Like, I've never heard of really people getting their names unbanned. Like, nobody's been successful in that. So who's going to police that? That's my problem. You know, that's my problem. I think that that's something that Microsoft has to work out. You can't just do that to people. Andrew S says Microsoft getting woke. Xbox Live not a free speech platform. Huckster Phil, no games over the last few years. Crap in the bed. No VR. I'm out. PS5 for me. Listen, I'm with you. Mogui says my 360 was stolen last gen and I never replaced it. Hey man, I still got my 360s. If you guys are here, please hit the like button, share it out. I would appreciate that. Sometimes YouTube doesn't do a great job of doing that, so I would definitely appreciate it if you guys could do that for me. So the PlayStation specs that leak or whatever, I find that to be interesting. You know, games are very closely developed with the hardware. You know, the Spider-Man's, Death Stranding, Cyberpunk, Forza, Halo. Even Halo apparently is getting its beta first on PC. And this is a credible source with a pretty decent reputation of getting these things right in terms of the spec leaks and stuff like that. And now the benchmarks for PlayStation 5. Still take them with a grain of salt. If you're an Xbox dude, don't be just, oh man, crap's pushing this narrative. No. I'm saying it's plausible, it's possible. Don't count it out because Sony's not stupid. Like people would have thought it was stupid if we go into this generation and we go, Sony's going to have a much better UI than Microsoft this generation, the entire generation, and Sony's never even going to change theirs. Microsoft is going to change theirs 20 times and still have the worst UI in the history of gaming, right? Nobody would have believed that. If you would have said Microsoft isn't going to come out with a new AAA IP in 5 years, nobody would have believed that. If they would have said Halo and Gears would have taken steps back and Forza Motorsport would have taken a step back, nobody would have believed that. If they would have said Lionhead Studios would get shut down and Fable canceled, nobody would have believed that. The thing is, here we are. We've had an abysmal generation as Xbox fans. So it is a little bit, one of those things where I believe where there's smoke, there's fire. Where there's not, there's not. I'm still waiting to get some confirmation on this stuff because if you guys remember right, which I don't care if you're a hater of mine or not, you'll know damn well that I had both the PlayStation Neo specs and the papers for the roadmap as well as the Xbox Scorpio. I had their roadmap as well, and I shared that with multiple YouTubers. Man, I can't even think of them, the ones that I shared it with. But I'm waiting to get some on there. They haven't updated and given them to some of the mid-level developers yet. So once that happens, I'm sure I'll get my copy, and I'll be able to kind of go over a little bit more what's going to be offered from both Microsoft and Sony. I believe they're going to be very, very similar. I just think that that's a mistake. Like, even if they're exactly equal, that's a win for PlayStation, for the simple fact that PlayStation has these great games and things like that. Hey, man, LJ Gaming, it's not you. Like, you don't got to be sorry, man. Microsoft, they're their own people, man. Phil, you know what? Look, Phil could have at any time, can at any time, just go, hey, we haven't forgot about our console gamers. We're making games specifically for the console. Nobody's ever really kind of reassured anybody about this crossplay stuff. How's that going to work with Halo and Gears? I guess they talked a little bit about it with Gears on some backwater page, but that should be stuff that they talk about right up front. But the fact of the matter is they want crossplay with xCloud and PC. They don't care who has an advantage or a disadvantage as long as people are playing together. He doesn't care about console sales, but what about the people that want a full lobby on Gears 5 or Halo Infinite, right? And they only want to play against other people on Xbox. Like, are we to be shamed because we want to play against only other people on Xbox? Will there be enough people to play against on Xbox alone, or are we going to have to be forced to play against people on PC and xCloud, right? Like, that's the questions. Like, they don't answer these tough questions, and nobody really asks these tough questions. But I have to believe that Xbox, whatever the next Xbox is going to be, Scarlett, is going to sell possibly less than the original Xbox did because there's no reason to really buy one at all. Next doc says the problem is many hardcore fans dislike Phil's direction, but Xbox is more profitable than ever. I mean, bro, can it honestly turn around for us hardcore fans? I don't know if it can turn around per se. I think that, what we're kind of dealing with as fans is just that, man. You said it all. They're making a ton of money, and that's what matters to Microsoft. They only care about the money. They don't care about, they don't care about the hardcore fans. It's pretty clear anyway that they don't care about the hardcore fans at all. They care about these so-called 2 billion gamers, and that's about it. I mean, they honestly just don't seem to care too much. So also, according to this, which I linked this article as well, separate article, PlayStation 5 is 15 to 50% more powerful than Scarlett. But that's a 10 to 15% more powerful. The performance difference is 10 to 15% according to this report. It outperforms Xbox, the next Xbox, but it doesn't do well when handling ray tracing or as well. So developers familiar with dev kits say both PS5 and Scarlett mimic hardware architecture, but Xbox Scarlett does better ray tracing compared to Sony's PS5. A source within the industry that has access to both PS5 and Xbox Scarlett dev kits confirms that the next-gen systems almost mimic in architecture, but the max performance of the PS5 outperforms Scarlett by 10 to 15% and has a faster solid-state drive. ray tracing capability better with Scarlett, however. So again, no reason to 100% believe this yet. This is one of those things where take it with a grain of salt. We don't know. Ed Boon has even come out and said we don't even know yet. It's really hard to tell with dev kits. So we'll have to see. There's been a lot of talk in the last few weeks about power and console power. This is going to be unfortunately something that matters. Probably only until the release of these things. It's going to be a debating point, and people are going to be able to talk back and forth and kind of argue back and forth. But at the end of the day, will it even matter? I don't even know, because I think that, Xbox games, they're going to look like Xbox games. Forza is going to look like Forza. Apparently, Halo is always going to look like Halo. So, Gears looks great. Looks like Gears. So I think that's what we're going to be kind of faced with. And then, the only real difference is, like, we've seen really next gen leaps when we've seen some of these PlayStation exclusives, right? Go back and look at God of War Ascension or God of War 3 on the PlayStation 3, and then go look at God of War on the PlayStation 4. That's a generational leap. They really have know what they're doing. They dot their I's and cross their T's. And then when you look at Xbox, go look at Halo 4 on Xbox 360, and then go look at Halo 5 on Xbox One. That's not really a generational leap. You can go look at Gears after it got updated for the X. I think looks great, but again, it just looks like Gears. Now go play Uncharted 3 on PS3, and then go play Uncharted 4 on PS4. Generational leap. Like, for some reason, Sony's developers are able to get so much more out of that console than what Microsoft's developers can do. I think that the coalition does a good job and pushes the hardware, extremely well. So I just, it blows my mind, when I go back and play some of that stuff. That's just the way I feel. I know some people won't agree with that. And if you are just joining me, please like and share it out. I like to do these. Sometimes I do them on Mondays. I had a little bit of time. I got home a little bit early today. And I'm still going to do Xbox Nation with the whole crew. Tonight I got a big topic list and everything to talk about, so hopefully you guys can come back for that as well. But I know sometimes if you're in the UK or some other part of the country, you might not be able to get this, get as much time with this. It's late for Xbox Nation, so I figure I can do one by myself and answer more questions and things like that. So I do appreciate that. Hey, we're closing in on 100 likes. Please do that. These talks just prove power matters. Hey, power matters until it doesn't, man. Until it doesn't. True, until PlayStation exclusives drop and dust Xbox games graphically speaking. Yes, we've got a what's up, XDOS. I appreciate it, man. Thank you very much. Appreciate everybody coming out. Like it. Let's get going, man. Let's get over 100, man. I appreciate it. Stephen Hawking can confirm that the PS5 is more powerful because it doesn't work that way anymore. I don't think he's around, but a very intelligent guy. But he probably would confirm it. If you could look, a lot of people are going to be on about these power narratives. Like I said, the reason why, and this is just as honest as I can talk for somebody, for myself, the reason why power matters, and power matters more to Xbox next gen. It won't matter as much to PlayStation. Look, PlayStation is doing fine with the less powerful console, right? The base PS4, the PS4 Slim, that's the one that sells the most for Sony. That is a 1.8 T-flop machine, and that does incredibly well. I would bet that thing has sold 80, between that and the original PS4 model, those two have probably sold 85 million, 90 million of the consoles, right? The Pro, it's a very capable machine, but I'm telling you that thing has not sold tremendously well. Maybe even less than, I might be even overestimating the amount of Pros sold, right? Maybe only a few million Pros have sold, but they're sitting on 98 million sales right now, and the majority of those are 1.8 T-flop machine, and that is severely underpowered compared to a Xbox One X. But nobody dropped their PS4 or their PS4 Slim to go get an Xbox One X for the simple fact of most developers aren't taking advantage of it anyway. And I gave you guys a perfect example. Crash Team Nitro Racing, which shout out to Yobi because he hooked me up with that. It's 1440p, 30 frames on both the Pro and the X. So if developers aren't taking full advantage of it, that is a bit of a problem. What makes people think that developers will take a full advantage of it next gen? They're only objects, and developers will not want to screw over the market leader. That never happens, right? last gen Xbox 360. I know Sony ended up catching up or whatever at the end, and the Wii technically was the market leader, but the Wii had to get these weird ports and stuff like that. So you look at the 360 as the market leader for the majority of the generation, and the PS3 got the worst ports of Call of Duty, the Orange Box, Bayonetta. The list goes on and on. It was just really, really bad. Developers didn't want to work on the PS3. They got the short end of the stick a lot of the time. And that just goes to show you exactly what I'm talking about, right? I just feel like, that sort of thing is happening again. That's happening to Microsoft this generation, right? Like developers aren't one to take advantage of the Xbox One X, because why would you take advantage of the X, which has maybe a couple million install, and that's maybe being nice. Let's just say that there's 2 million Xbox One X owners, right? Are you going to take your time and take advantage of that and make that 60 frames and 4K? And then if there's multiplayer, you're going to be playing. Most of the people that play that game on an Xbox One are probably playing on an S, and so they're at 30 frames. So you're going to put your game at 60 frames on the X and let those people have a competitive advantage over the 30 frames people? Like, that doesn't make sense. Are you going to give them an edge over somebody on a PS4 who has a 98 million install base? No, it doesn't make sense. If you're a developer and you want to make money, you're going to make it pretty even across the board, or as even as you can, right? And this is what we've seen. Even games that look amazing, like Assassin's Creed games lately, are pretty even on the Pro and the X. So this is something we're going to see a lot next generation as well, unfortunately. Let's see. Please hit the like button, guys. 6 away from 100. Radical Hypothesis Gamer says, I'll be a little late for Xbox Nation tonight since I'm attending an advanced screening for Spider-Man. Hey, man, enjoy it and let me know how it goes, man. I want to see it. I love those movies, man. I'm a movie-aholic. I love movies as much as gaming. Dual Purpose says Pro is at 8+ million. I wouldn't doubt it. Like I said, if there's 98 million, I would say 90 million are the standard PS4 Slims, and then the other 8 million Pros. That makes perfect sense to me. LG Nemesis says power don't matter, but people upgraded to the Pro and the X. Yeah, here's the thing, LG. People upgraded, but who? The people on Twitter, right? Like, that's not a big sample size. I'm sorry. Like, I know that's where people, want to believe one thing or the other, but that's not a huge sample size. That's like the minority of people right there, right? So I don't think, I think the hardcore, some of the hardest of the hardcore cared enough to, but to be honest with you, you're not missing anything by not upgrading to the Pro. So let's see. Yep, exactly, which is why exclusives matters to properly get the most out of our hardware. Exactly. Got a bump says ray tracing means nothing. It's a buzzword. Viking Norm says, hey, Crap, just seen you were broadcasting, listening at work. I hope I don't get caught. Hey, I hope you don't get caught either, because I need listeners, man. Xbox can't compete with a heavy hitter like Knack. No, but Xbox really can't compete with stuff like God of War, Days Gone, Ghost of Tsushima, Last of Us 2, Uncharted, Horizon Zero Dawn. I mean, State of Decay 2, Crackdown 3, right? Yeah, I mean, those are the games we get, guys. Last Gen debunks the Xbox fanboy narrative that Sony has never criticized or held accountable. Gamers flock to the 360. Yeah, look, when you come out and say people can get a second job, that's going to make people, piss people off, man. They don't like being told how to spend their money. But I will say people forgave Sony much quicker than they forgave Xbox. People still hold that grudge. And I think part of that is the Xbox is still the new kid on the block, technically, even though they've been around for, 15 years or whatever. People still kind of look at them as like, why are you even in the industry? What are you doing for the industry? And Microsoft has done a lot for the industry. I just feel like they're trying to change console gaming and make it not console gaming anymore, not what we're used to. And I feel like that's probably a bad thing. So, hey, Days Gone, Richard Luna, is a lot of fun. 100%, one of the best games. If they were to review that game right now, I'd probably get an 80, 85 better. I guarantee it. Top Dog says if Microsoft had their own version of a Mark Cerny, Xbox studios like Naughty Dog and Santa Monica. Here's the thing, Top Dog. Microsoft does it. I mean, they've got a couple of good studios, right? But if you look at what like Sony Santa Monica and Naughty Dog do, they're allowed to do their own things, right? Like Sony Santa Monica were making a new IP, and it ended up not being good and canceled, and a lot of that staff got laid off. It's a really remarkable turnaround that they were able to accomplish with the new God of War, right? The brilliant turnaround right there. People like Game of the Year. Are you kidding me? Amazing Game of the Generation, in my opinion. Microsoft doesn't have that. They have IP factories. Coalition does Gears, 343 does Halo, Turn 10 does Forza, Playground does Forza, and apparently Fable. What do these other studios do? I don't know. A lot of them are just AA studios. I'm not really convinced that they're ever going to do anything amazing. I think that most of these studios that Microsoft bought were specifically bought to feed Game Pass every couple of years with a AA title in between the Forza, Halo, Gears, and Fable games that release, right? Like, I don't have any belief that Microsoft wants new AAA exclusive IPs at all. Until I see it, I'm not going to believe it. I'm sorry. Let's see what else we got. Naughty Dog took a long time to get to where they are today. They grew and learned over the years. Mogui, listen, that first Crash Bandicoot was a hit, man. Then they did a couple more. Then they did Crash Team Racing, and they did the Jak and Daxter series and the Uncharted series saga, and now Last of Us, and they're going to do something new as well. That's probably the best developer in the world, and they're owned by Sony. Did you know The Last of Us released in and it did 11? Yeah, The Last of Us, the game has over 20 million units sold. Think about that. 20 million units between the PS3 and PS4. So you're saying 11.7 million on PS4 specifically. That's incredible. That's incredible. Tony Brennan says, just kicking back playing Gran Turismo Sport, getting my skills ready until F1 2019 drops tomorrow night. We'll get it on the X. Enjoying the show, crap. Thanks, Tony. You've always been a big time supporter. I know that's tough these days because if you're an Xbox fan, you just see me kind of being critical, and there's plenty of other places you guys can go to get fake news about Xbox all you want, where they're nothing but happy and shiny rainbows and fun, and everything Xbox does is great. I'm not that guy. I think a lot of what they do is great, and I still always in the back of my mind hold that optimism that they're going to announce something amazing. But I can only get kicked so many times before you just kind of just go, oh man, that's not good. So I think that that's just one of the things that that just happens. So let's see. What's the benchmark rumor between 2070 and 2080? Yeah, that's right. So if you guys didn't know, and I did link it, so nobody can try that crap didn't link stuff BS. I've been incredibly accurate with those lately, right? Because I know there's people on YouTube that like to think they're the boss of everybody, and if you don't link something, Lord help you. But yeah, so I did link that. The segment next article did link it. So the PS5 Gonzalo apparently what they're going to be using is very, very much powerful and just under an RTX 2080 in terms of power. So that's that's incredible. If that's true, listen, the Scarlett will probably be damn near the same or maybe even a little bit better. I don't know, but that's incredible. Sony really is going all out. These consoles, guys and girls, are going to be future proof. So think about that, man. For the next, you're probably going to be good. You pick one of these up, you're going to be good for 6-8 years or whatever. And I think that's very, very important. And the fact that they're going to be able to output and do variable refresh rates and things like that on the new TVs, I think is really cool as well. They're very intelligent, Microsoft and Sony. They know what they're doing. They have, gamers, Microsoft in particular, they're very smart with what they do. They're giving people choices, and I guess that's okay. When you look at what Sony's doing, they have, Sony is smart too. They seem to always be like a move or two ahead of Microsoft. And I feel like that's something that continues to happen. And they're a good old, they seem to be a good part ahead of what Microsoft does. And no matter what Microsoft did this gen, Sony seemed to be a little bit ahead of them. So we got to think that that's going to continue going forward as well. Pumpkin Queen says, I wonder what the other Fox News gaming podcast you're talking about. Oh, there's multiple ones, Pumpkin Queen. There's multiple ones, listen, if they don't ever talk bad, or if they thought Xbox's E3 was great, that's probably fake news, right? Except for Xbot. That dude is always just no gloom, no doom. But for the most part, I was scanning through some of these because I drive 3 hours a day, right? Just between work and my fiance's house and back and forth, like 3 hours a day. So I have plenty of time to listen to podcasts. Lately, I've been listening to a lot of Colin Moriarty's Sacred Symbols podcast on Spotify or whatever. And, he does a really great job. But I also listen to Xbox and some of these other ones just to kind of get an idea of what's going on. And some of these podcasts are just have people that are so deluded and just so, I don't even want to get into it because I know if Mooch hears it, he'd just be like, crap, you shouldn't do that. You shouldn't say that, crap. And, he's right. I probably shouldn't. You guys can listen to whatever the hell you want. I'm just saying, there's a lot of people out there that are hyping things just for hype sake. Just Xbox can do no wrong, which is clearly not the case in my opinion. Xbox does do wrong, and they do a lot wrong, and they're not even listening to the hardcore fans. If you guys listen to a lot of what these podcasts are saying, they want Microsoft not even to have any exclusives at all, right? No exclusives, the better. Hey, who needs exclusives, right? Yeah, well, I do. There's the reason why you buy these damn consoles, The reason why I'm mired in this slump in gaming on Xbox, aside from the kart racers that I'm playing right now, is because everything's the damn same. It's the same now as it was when the damn Xbox One launched. Yeah, we get prettier graphics, right? It's better resolution. But I remember playing the Division 1, and that was cool at the time. And now the Division 2, it's just more Division 1. To me, it's just like a Division 1.5. Anthem is just a wannabe Destiny. Destiny 2 is just Destiny 1. Like, all these games that we're getting are literally just the same crap. There's nothing unique, except for when you look at some of the exclusives, like the Nintendo Switch stuff. They're getting a new Ultimate Alliance. Link's Awakening, like they're doing some interesting thing. Sony's got the VR stuff, Blood and Truth. They've got, they're bringing back Medieval. They're taking chances on some of their games again, and I think that's incredible. That's awesome. And Microsoft seems to be doing, and sadly, guys and girls, Microsoft seems to be doing what Sony did at the beginning of the generation and focus more on these indie games and stuff. And the ever loving, pessimist or optimistic Xbox fans on social media all hype these games up much the way Sony fans did. And they don't even notice, right? It's so hypocritical. So us Xbox fans gave the Sony fans crap for hyping up stuff like No Man's Sky and indies and stuff like that at E3s and giving these ridiculous lists of games like Tropico 4 or Tropico 5 and Godzilla and stuff like that. But Xbox fans are putting down lists with Blair Witch and Super Lucky's Tale, just absolutely asinine. Like, the quality level just is not there. Like do they not see? I'm glad that there's a lot of self-aware Xbox fans like me, right? I'm an Xbox fans. I'm self-aware that these lists look ridiculous. Anybody hyping up, Recore or Crackdown 3, don't do it. You look foolish because the quality isn't there. Those type of games would have been okay at the launch of a console, but definitely not okay at the tail end. You want, as the generation goes along, you're supposed to get more quality, better quality, not worse. And it's ridiculous that they haven't. Worry, man, I would love to get you on a show someday, Worry, because hey, people hate me now anyway. But Worry Ward says, at what point is enough? When do people just get off Xbox? If never, then they don't hear the criticism and don't care. Worry, here's the thing: people are going to get off Xbox. The next Xbox is going to sell piss poor. Listen, I know that Sony's going to do streaming and they're going to do remote play. They've been doing streaming and remote play this entire generation, but they don't forget about their core console gamer. That's the big difference. You feel respected and wanted in that ecosystem. Sony does a good job at that. Sure, they're going to push PlayStation Now a little bit. They're going to talk about that, and because they think that's the future. But at the same time, they're not shoving it down our throats. They're doing state of play. Their console is 100 million units strong. They're not out there going, our console sales don't matter. Because you know what? If you have 100 million consoles sold, you can sell your software and your services to 100 million people potentially, right? That's the big difference between what Sony and Microsoft are doing. So I feel really, really bad that people bite into what, and they take the Phil Spencer quotes and run with it. Console sales don't matter. Console sales don't matter. I don't make money from console sales. I make money from software and services. If you're a console fan or Xbox fan, that should scare the hell out of you, because he's basically saying we don't even need a console to make money. We could just sell our games and services wherever we want. You know, that is a bad thing. That's not a good thing. You know, you want a company that's going all out trying to sell consoles in addition to the other things, because if they're selling their consoles, if they're selling these consoles, they can sell more software and services. Microsoft doesn't seem to have that will to want to sell their consoles, right? You know, they don't seem to be doing that. So I just, it's disappointing to me. And I know it's something that I've been worried about for a long time now. Hey, you guys, hit the like button. Maybe we can get up to 150. I would appreciate it. Let me see. Phil doesn't know what a good game is. Look at the games the guy has put out since 2010. Rise and Sunset are the only two that are good. Yeah, I mean, listen, I liked Titanfall 1 tremendously. I know that's not a first-party game, but they did lock that down. That's what Microsoft should have been doing. They should have been locking down games like that, getting games that nobody else had. To me, that would have been something amazing. Jay Slayer says, I buy hardware based on the hardware. I'm not brand loyal. Yeah, but what if the hardware is, I mean, you're still going to want to get the better games, right? You know? So Warward says Witcher 3 was praised by the entire industry for selling 20 million to an install base of a gazillion. So Sony's new IP selling 15 million is a huge success. Listen, believe it or not, Sony's IP this generation, like the stuff like God of War, Spider-Man, Uncharted, The Last of Us remastered, even what did almost 12 million. Those were doing numbers that the Xbox 360 didn't even do in terms of their exclusives. So that's incredible. That's an incredible amount of success, and really just goes to show you that Sony's much more tuned into what gamers want than Microsoft. Microsoft abandoned talking about numbers. Microsoft puts out, they don't cultivate any of their new IP. We didn't get any sequels to a new IP this generation. Not that there was anything worthwhile, but I guess Rise would have been cool to see something, or Sunset Overdrive would have been great to see a sequel, even Quantum Break. That game came out 3 years ago. We're never probably going to get a sequel to that. Yeah, just to me, completely underwhelmed by what Microsoft has done, and people are okay with them giving up, right? That's the sad part. Like, I don't know. My corner of YouTube keeps getting smaller and smaller, and that's fine. I'm going to keep talking and talking. I know a lot of people think I go on these tangents to draw PlayStation crowd, but I haven't. You know, I mean, I'm not drawing any bigger crowds. I'm losing crowds because I'm talking out against Xbox, and my fan base was mostly pro Xbox and they don't want to hear it. So, you know, I had to be honest as I could possibly be, you know, and I think that next gen people are going to have that sad realization, and maybe they'll come back when they realize I'm right, when we're getting Halo Infinite 5 and Forza Motorsport 15 and these little Bard's Tale 6 from In Exile and We Happy View 2, right? Like, those games aren't going to make anybody want to get an Xbox. Radical Hypothesis Gamer says Phil Spencer should hire you and turn Xbox around into something that compete hardware sales wise. Listen, they could even do the same stuff that they're doing with xCloud and all this kind of stuff, but you got to have some kind of focus on your fans, man. Like, focus on the people that took you there, right? To me, anyway. I think that that's just the truth, you know, like keep it real with the fans, and keep it real with the people that have supported you since the original Xbox, which was me and a lot of you guys. You know, it's sad to say that the original Xbox was such a hardcore machine, even though it didn't do well in terms of sales next to the PlayStation 2, but it set them up for the Xbox 360 to do extremely well. And the 360 did do extremely well, man. The 360 went out there and crushed it. You know, 90 million consoles, Gears, Halo 3, Call of Duty 4, even though that's a multiplat, but still Call of Duty 4 was the best on Xbox 360. You know, 2007 was maybe the biggest gaming year in console history. Xbox 360, I think, sold something like 20 million, 30 million consoles. I don't remember which one it was, but it was thanks to stuff like great games. Microsoft used to come out and announce numbers of players on their games. You know, there used to be 1 million players a month on Halo, and they used to talk about sales numbers because they had stuff to be proud about. And now it's like they want a damage control, and people buy into the damage control so much that you just don't, it makes me sick to my stomach. You know, you have people that go, oh, well, it really doesn't matter. Well, it really does, because the more people that are playing, the better for the people that are buying that console and playing these games, right? Like, I don't want to be matched up with the same people every time I play Gears or Halo or Call of Duty. Thank God for crossplay, because you're going to need it in the future. That sucks. That really sucks. PSVR has more exclusives than Xbox One. Here's the thing, Travis. People go, oh, well, PSVR has bad graphics or whatever. And to an extent, they're right, because you got to have the frame rates that run a certain amount, right? But I would say this. Some of these PSVR games are much better than the Xbox quote-unquote exclusives or the indies. Like Blair Witch. Are people really hyping up Blair Witch, a game that's going to come to PlayStation anyway, right? A game that's going to come to PlayStation. Carlos Torres says keeping the X until they and stick with Sony, not going to invest in Xbox till they do what I like. And now Sony is doing it, and I was the one that talked shit about. Listen, you weren't the only one that talked crap about PS4, right? I was doing it right there with you, but people have noticed, right? I'm on Xbox less and less. I use it for a couple of the games like kart racers, or if I'm going to be streaming with Mooch or something like that. Mostly I'm on my PS4 Pro, I'm on PSVR, and I'm on a Switch if I'm actually gaming, because I want to play something unique. I don't want to play the same cookie cutter crap over and over again, right? Now I am excited to play the new Call of Duty. They're rebooting it. It's going to be finally totally boots on the ground again. I'm excited about it. Okay, I'll play it on my Xbox Live, my controller, even though I do have a controller that works on the PS4 as well, but I just prefer to play that on the X. It's going to probably be pretty damn good. So yeah, listen, I'm not saying the Blair Witch doesn't look good. I'm just saying it's an indie game. It's just an indie game that, that's going to go to PlayStation at some point, and it's not really worth hyping as like this big exclusive. It's like the people that talk about, what the hell are some of these games that we get in the game preview program as an exclusive, right? Those aren't a big deal, Xbox executives are out of touch and have double standards. You're right, next doc. Call of Duty will be crossplay. I'm actually looking forward to the crossplay with the PS4, right? I'll crossplay with PS4 folk anytime, because I think that that'll be a lot of fun, and there's not going to be a lot of people on Xbox. People don't buy Xbox. Antonio Alicia says, I've been playing PS3 lately. Damn. PS3, man. What have you been playing on PS3? I got a bunch of games on PS3 that I haven't played in a long time. Oh, the Don. Crapgamer bleeds teal. Xbox One says, I think Rod Ferguson looks a little insecure about Gears 5 campaign. Are we ready for a 7 Meta Gears 5 this gen? I hope not. Here's the thing. I think that the Gears 5 campaign could be a little bit of a problem, but I'm going to hold back judgment until I get to play it myself. I think that my favorite franchise, I hope it's not ruined, man. It looks good, but the fact that they're holding back after they've made, quote unquote, so many changes, that does worry me. And I do hope that they're able to sort of alleviate those concerns. Uncharted 3 multiplayer, they're going to shut down the Uncharted 3 multiplayer soon, man. Microsoft may have some great exclusives in 10 years' time. Took Guerrilla 15 years to be great. Yeah, Travis, when will Microsoft get these exclusives from these new studios? That's my thing, man. If you look at their studios, most of them are tied up for at least the next 3 to 5 years making multiplats. So they're into these contracts where they have to ship these multiplats, and that's a bit unfortunate. Crapgamer, what did I miss with the Gears paranoia? That's 2 times his podcast. Someone mentioned it. Rod is doing interviews, but he's not talking about the campaign at all, right? He's saying that they've changed a lot, but he's not exactly mentioning what the change is. So a lot of people are worried about it. I personally don't care about the female lead if that's what people are worried about. I just care that that it feels like Gears with some changes. I'm fine with that if they do it right. Casey says Gears 5 marketing campaign is stupid. Why did they decide to trickle out new info over the summer instead of having a big E3 blowout? I have no idea. Hold on. Somebody asked me a very good question, and I'm trying to find it. Official says, Crap, what are your thoughts about political correctness whining concerning the new Call of Duty? I think that it's unfortunate. Why is it that we could get away with more things, 10 years ago than we can now? Right? Like, who's really complaining about this stuff? And like, nobody I know is complaining about this stuff. The only people complaining about this stuff are like people in suits that realistically have no right complaining about this stuff. Okay. I don't like political correctness. I think it's dumb, but I hope that the new game will be amazing. And I hope that the new Call of Duty is going to be amazing as well. Yeah, exactly. Xbox Pope. I don't get it. Look, I've had so much crap said about me over the years. It's not even funny, and it doesn't hurt my feelings. It just doesn't. So, for me personally, I think that it's just one of those things that I guess I was raised differently or whatever. I think that it's just one of those things that I kind of don't understand why people allow words to affect them in such a way. Um, you know, just how I feel about it. So, hey, there's the Don and Xbox Pope. Man, I really appreciate you guys coming out here. Simon Brandy says, you made up with Salty yet? Listen, me and Salty are cool. I apologize to Salty literally, I think the next day or the day after I had that blow up with him. It took him a little bit more time to come around, but beef squashed. I have no issues with the guy. I think he was in the Crossfire chat. We're just gamers, man. Listen, I'm too damn old to be really arguing with people. I still, there's still a couple people that I'm probably never going to like. And I think people are just going to have to deal with that. It just kind of is what it is. And there's always going to be people that dislike me. But I guess that just kind of ends where it ends. I'm not really worried about it. I'm not really, it's just one of those things. I can't be bothered with it. And, I'm trying to do my own thing and kind of keep to myself. I literally do not do anything to anybody. Like, I don't care to enough to go. I don't troll in people's comments. I'm not in their business. So I always find it weird when people are in my business, because literally what I do has absolutely no inkling on what they do as YouTubers or social medias. Like, if you follow me or watch that's different. Like on social media, if you follow me, how can you hate what I say if you follow me, right? It's just, I don't understand it. So I will say that I am happy that Gears 5 is doing maps for free, and there's no gear packs or season pass. So I do think that that's really cool. I think that they are listening to that point. It could be a great game. I would hate to see Gears flounder, though. You know what I mean? Like, Gears to me is Xbox, and I would really just hate to see them continue to not to do well. Gears 4, I think, what is it, an 85 on meta or something like that. But I feel like that's one of those things that game was probably an 84. Yeah, it's an 84 Metacritic. That's good. That's a really good Metacritic. I just feel like that's a Metacritic that Gears would never have gotten last gen unless it was Judgment, because Judgment just wasn't very good. But for me personally, I feel like it was just an okay game. It wasn't what Gears should have been on this generation, right? We didn't get that big leap, and I'm hoping that that's what we get from this one, right? We got to get that for this leap. That's what I'm looking forward to. Let's see. I totally get your Simon Brandy says, I totally get your apathy crap, and Spencer is frustrating, but if Halo ends up awesome, the initiative blows away with Fable and brings it, then it could be a road to recovery. Hey, you're right, but I still think you need new IP, new AAA IP. The user score to Gears was 6.8. So, but I don't really like the user scores on Metacritic are weird, because you have to take them with a grain of salt, because believe it or not, even though I get called a fanboy and this and that and the other thing, you literally have people that stalk these user things, right? And give like these really bad user reviews to these games. And, just because they're on a competing platform. Like, I haven't done that, but I saw people spoofing Crapgamers in my name, right? They spoof my name and give bad and give bad reviews and stuff like that. So yeah, that's that's a bit unfortunate for me anyway. So oh, look, Microsoft is doing the convert your entire prepaid balance of Xbox Live Gold into Xbox Game Pass Ultimate for only $1. That looks like that is back right now for the next 8 days or whatever. So yeah, that's pretty cool. I think that's awesome. I actually think Game Pass is something that is one of the only reasons to actually have to actually have Xbox One or Xbox One X right now, because They do some incredible stuff, and being able to play Gears, I think, will be cool in it. And you'll still be able to play Halo, and like Forza Horizon 4 is top notch and this kind of stuff. So there's a lot to look forward to and a lot going forward with what Microsoft is doing. And it's a very exciting time to kind of be a gamer, even though it's not a great time, a great time to be a. Yeah, we got Xbox Pope back, man. I'm happy that he's back too. Next doc says political correctness in games journalism needs to stop. Why is it okay to have ultra violence in movies and novels, but not games? The double standards need to stop games or art. Well, listen, I agree. I agree. Just because I feel like, like the censorship and stuff is going a little bit far. Because I do think that what Microsoft is doing, or what these companies are doing, is a huge double standard. Like, you can literally go watch a movie that has a ton of violence and all kinds of weird stuff in it, but you get one game with some jiggle in it, and people flip out, right? And you got to censor it. I don't like it. I think it's stupid. Yes, Dog of War. I did see the new Jedi Fallen Order gameplay. It looks phenomenal. I love it. Joe Parsons says, I've noticed a lot of YouTubers that have been big time Xbox fans are just no longer wanting to deal with Xbox because they just don't listen. Xbox is not listening to us. They are listening to the echo chamber of a certain group of people, right? The ones that think that Xbox can do no bad. The ones that actually play on a bunch on PC, like the ones that do what Microsoft wants you to do, right? If you're a gamer that is excited about playing a game on your phone while you're taking a dump, or you play on PC too, those are the types that Microsoft want, right? They don't give a crap about me, who only play on console and don't give a crap about PC or phones or any of that stuff. Even though I bought every console multiple times and have 800 and some games on my Xbox right now, bought 2 Elite controllers, 6 or 7 other controllers. They don't care about that. What they care about is that little casual person that's only going to buy a couple of games on xCloud or whatever, maybe not even that. So yeah, it is a little bit unfortunate. Chris Jones says, crap, that Battletoads looks like hot trash. Yeah, I mean, look, I don't mind the look of it. I don't have high hopes that it's going to be very good. I think that it'll be okay. I just don't think, it's going to be great. Joe Parsons says, Phil Spencer reminds me a lot like Todd Howard, a lot of promises, but he never delivers. You're not wrong. Tony Yeo says, why does Jason Schreier write the same article around the release of a big game? Just posted another one about Call of Duty. Yeah, like that guy, like, I don't know what his deal is, man. He hides around waiting to find out if anybody disgruntled, and then goes out there and writes an article about it. So, well, Simon, listen, man, I'm never gonna knock anybody's. Wait, Dragon Wolf says, crap, you're kidding yourself if you don't think that Sony are not going down the same road as Microsoft. Well, Dragon Wolf, listen, Sony has the software to back it up, my friend. They've been putting out consistently great software since the beginning. Microsoft hasn't been able to do that. Sony still talks about consoles like they're important to them. Microsoft doesn't do that. Microsoft only talks about PC and xCloud. Phil Spencer, go check his feed. PC's for they're taking PC for real this time, right? Phil Spencer only cares about putting games in front of as many people as possible, not giving his console players anything special or different or unique. All of our games that were on Xbox went to PC. The whole Game Pass Ultimate, well, I think is good. It's just really Microsoft monetizing PC gamers to pay for Xbox Live, really. He wants PC gamers to buy Xbox Live Ultimate in the hopes that they also play occasionally on Xbox, and that way they actually have to pay for Xbox Live without actually having to pay for it. It's just like trickery, you know what I mean? Like what he does, a lot of it is just like this huckster stuff, and that's why I came up with the huckster Phil stuff. And I see people use that all the time, and I think it's funny because it's true. I don't think Phil's like a terrible guy, and I think he's smart at, they're going to make money, but they're making money not specifically off Xbox itself. They're making money. Minecraft does well, Game Pass does well, but they're also, a lot of what they talk about is skewed, their numbers and stuff, because anybody can create an Xbox Live account on PC for free or mobile or whatever. If you're using Switch for Minecraft, that's an Xbox Live user. They've got so many kind of workarounds to have it in kind of legit numbers. It's really just, it's just bad. Crap Gamer, do you use the Brooks adapter for Xbox controller on PS4? If so, any input lag? No, I haven't had any input. I haven't noticed any input lag. So I think that a lot of these controllers things work. Xbox One control adapter for PS4 controllers. I know a lot of people have that same issue with me. I have big hands, so the symmetrical controllers aren't exactly great. But yeah, you can buy different ones for different prices and stuff like that. Some of them you just have to be careful that you pick up the right one. You don't want to be stuck with one that does have a lot of input lag. If you get a super cheap one, from what I understand, that those have a lot of input lag on them. I could not deal with the input lag, so I'm happy that the ones that I use doesn't have that problem. I'll still use the PS4 controller from time to time, though. If it's just something like a game or whatever. Limitless Wolf says Xbox is like Netflix. They don't care what you watch. Yeah, this is true. Simon Brandy says Crap Spencer talks the way he does because they're losing. It's PR speak. If roles were reversed, I'm sure we know how many consoles were sold. They had to change the goalposts. Yeah, exactly. You're 100% right. He says, and as much as we dislike Phil's BS, their plans are certainly more business savvy. Microsoft just tends to rush us towards the future. Yeah, they're doing it. Listen, everybody hit the like button. I really do appreciate it. Share it out. Future Generation says early leak test reports of PS5 APU performance equals around the GTX 1080 Ti. The Xbox One X performance around GTX 1070. Does that mean the PS5 will barely be more powerful than the X? No, Future Generations. I just posted this. The PS5 benchmarks are right below an RTX 2080. So yeah, the PS5, according to this anyway, and that's something that you have to keep in mind. It's just rumors at this point, but I would assume that the next Xbox and the next PlayStation are going to be incredibly powerful. They're both going to be incredibly powerful, and we're going to get some incredible games from both these companies. But I just think we're going to get more a lot sooner from Sony as opposed to Microsoft. I feel like Microsoft has, we're in this forever holding pattern as Xbox fans, and that is kind of annoying. But I do feel like at some point we're likely to get some kind of games. I know, we're going to get something at some point. And I know that doesn't sound good. Hey, sometime at some point in some particular place, we're going to get something, right? Like, yeah, eventually we're going to get something. I've always just been of the mindset of when are we going to get something? Because it seems like we're tasked with waiting and waiting and waiting. And, I am a patient guy, man. I'm very patient, but it's like we've been waiting this entire generation for something new, and we have not had that. We haven't really had that chance to get something new that's really worthwhile in the Xbox One. It's almost a waste of a generation. I say that because we've had such little to really kind of to look forward to. I'm so bummed out sometimes when I think about what we've had this generation and what we haven't had. And when you look at the competition, I don't look at it as us as having a good generation as Xbox fans. The worst. If you look back at the original Xbox generation, they were hungry. They were putting out all these games. They were doing the hardcore stuff. Oh, be hardcore, talk online with a voice changer, kick your friend's ass, do this, it was great. Then the 360 came around, same thing, be underground, do this, Gears of War, don't take any crap. We get map packs a month early. You felt like you were a part of something, like they really gave a crap about their console. If like they had problems with the red ring, but they gave everybody a 3-year free warranty. Right. And literally you could get your console back in like 8 days. It was ridiculous. They actually it seemed like they cared about people and their fans. And now it's just like, yeah, they're being quote unquote consumer friendly, but they're being consumer friendly only to make money. It's not like they're actually doing anything to better themselves in the console space, because from the looks of it, they've canceled one of their consoles and they haven't come out with anything decent in forever. Joe Parsons says, Crap, do you think they will implement a faster way to download your games like how they did so far to improve on it? Joe, I think what they're going to do is they're going to use xCloud to allow you to start your games earlier if you have the connection for it, which I'm not really a big fan of, right? Because I can't do that. But I do hope that we can install and play games cheaper. TCL are cheap, but not sure I trust it. Tony Yayo, I use TCL 4K, and I love it. I also have a Samsung KS8000, but I actually prefer the TCL. The HDR looks better in my opinion, and I think it's like basically higher rated. So, yeah, I love the TCL. I think it's a really good quality starter. Definitely, if you're looking to get into 4K, it's great. I'm telling you, the difference between it, absolutely amazing. Yeah, it was a few completely different Xbox back then, man. I do not. Again, I understand that times change and things change, but it seems to me like PlayStation manages to kick ass and take names year after year, and and they're able to do this with by doing the same things all the time, and Microsoft just doesn't get it. And I in turn don't get Microsoft a lot of the time, right? I don't understand what the hell they're thinking. I don't understand why they're doing a lot of the things they do. I do like some of the stuff they're doing. That Elite 2 controller, fantastic, man. I think that thing looks amazing. I just feel like they've forgotten about like the fans in terms of what we're doing and what we want, right? Like that's my main problem, right? They don't seem to really care about what the fans want in terms of games. They think we should just wait around and wait around. And I'm tired of waiting around. I continually say this. What choice do you have but to wait around, to be honest with you? But at the same time, I really just feel like a lot of Xbox fans, and I'm not alone, I'm actually really happy about that. A lot of fans are starting to wake up, because until Microsoft sees that people are serious and they want some change, like they did with the original Xbox One idea, people aren't going to want to go back to Xbox, right? What reason is there? What reason does anybody have to believe in the Xbox brand right now, right? They bought some studios, but if you take a close look at the studios, nothing fantastic, nothing great, in my opinion, nothing that really stands out. In fact, there's rumors that Sony could be buying Insomniac Games as well as Remedy Entertainment, which I feel like those two right there would be a much bigger buys than any of the studios that Microsoft bought. I just don't have a lot of faith in stuff like In Exile or Compulsion Games or even Double Fine, right? When was the last AAA Double Fine came out with? I think it was Brutal Legend, you could say, in 2010. Like, does that really excite people? A company that hasn't come out with a AAA in 9 years, 10 years? I feel like, these studios just are not what most people think. Now, I do think Ninja Theory, the Initiative, obviously Playground working on Fable is cool. So I do think that there's a couple studios in there that can do something great, but that's only if they allowed to do something great. And like, I'm a little bit disappointed that Bleeding Edge is the game that Ninja Theory is working on. I was hoping we would have got like something AAA, something single player wise, but I understand they were working on this before Microsoft bought them. There's only 20 people working on it, and I get it. But still, I was hoping for a little something more from that particular group. Double Fine has to creep. Matty Beast, I see it. A bunch of new AAA, AA studios. Yeah, Ninja Theory is legit. I really do like it. Yeah, exactly. That's the rumor. It's not a rumor that I can link, but that's just the rumor going around. Jay Slayer says Compulsion has potential. I don't know, man. They did We Happy Few, which wasn't very good and had a lot of bugs, and then they also did Contrast, which I didn't think was really great. So, Give Me Your Jacket says rumors. Ha 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 ha. Here we go. Well, I mean, this is what we talk about on these type of shows: is rumors, speculation, leaks, news, opinions. We cover the gamut. So I don't understand why that's so funny. Rumor was that Microsoft didn't have Squat the Show new at E3, and I said so before E3. I said, where there's no smoke, there's no fire, because the rumor was there was no fire, and boom, just like I said, no fire. So you can laugh all you want, but the truth is the truth, and sometimes that hurts. The choices play on a different game system. I guess Phil Spencer will learn his lesson when he starts selling less everything. As long as they're making money, I don't think he cares. That's the problem. So Jay Slayer says, I don't think Insomniac is being bought. They said they turned down Microsoft and Sony many times in the past. I don't see why that would change. Well, money talks, I guess. I think Sony, if Sony were to buy Insomniac, Insomniac already does some multiple IPs for Sony. Spider-Man, they do the Resistance games. They also do Ratchet and Clank. So you would have a studio, and they have multiple teams. So you could constantly have games being worked on from their huge studio, very quality studio. I understand that they like their freedom or whatever, but things can change, and things definitely seem to happen with studios where, you get hungry for your next meal, or you don't know where your next meal is coming from, and you got to pay your employees and stuff like that. Yeah, I just think that that's something. Simon Brandy says Xbox should buy Crytek. What's left of Crytek to even buy at this point? Jake Noy says, do you think Xbox makes another console if Scarlett lags behind PS5 like this current gen? I don't think so. And I think if Microsoft starts publishing their stuff on PlayStation and Switch even more, that we're going to see that pretty much seals the deal, that we won't see any more consoles from Microsoft. I feel like there's not really a point. There's not a point. There's not really a point on any of that if they're not able to sort of accomplish that. So, I feel like that's something that's, just one of those things that how I feel anyway. You know what I mean? So, take some more questions. The main reason, talking about the cell chip, E3 catered to the handful of people who were handpicked for FanFest and no one else. Matty Beast, here's the thing. And I asked this, I was like, why were so many people hyping up Bleeding Edge at E3? Right? Because I know somebody who is in the technical alpha right now, right? Or beta or whatever it is, right? And he said, and this made a ton of sense to me. He says, well, E3, you have this ambiance, you have this amazing type of experience where everybody's out there and celebrating and in a good mood, and people tend to look at things a little bit better in that type of situation, right? Everything seems to be a little bit better, and I get that. So people get excited about Xbox, and they're like, oh wow, check out this game, Bleeding Edge, it's great. Bleeding Edge is one of those games that I feel like is going to fall by the wayside rather quickly. And, people are going to forget about it. Same thing with stuff like, what the hell is that damn game? Blair Witch. Like, people are hyping this up. This is realistically, I just want to say, dude, this is your No Man's Sky that you're hyping up, right? Like, I get it. It could be decent, but what is it more than an indie horror game, to be honest with you? Just saying. How can you, how can that be? That's my point. Like I don't get it. Death Stranding looks interesting. It's a AAA game. I'm probably going to get it just because it's something new, right? I'm at this point in this generation where everything we get seems like the same old, right? And it's not fun. I've been playing mostly like exclusives on Sony's and Nintendo's platform. I've been playing some PlayStation VR a lot lately. I've been playing a couple of kart racers and things like that. For me personally, I just feel like there's nothing unique anymore on Xbox. Blair Witch looked good. Simon Brandy says looked good. People lost it over a PT demo. Well, look, PT was potentially a AAA game. We want something new. To me, Blair Witch looks like what the hell? It looks like a current. There's a current game. I forget what the hell it's called, but there's a horror game. So Outlast or something like that. So it looks just kind of like a less linear Outlast. So yeah, look, I'm not super excited about about it, but I mean, I guess we'll have to see how it goes. Matty B says I'll be at Gamescom in August. Is there any chance of anything getting announced there? No, Maddie, I wish. What Microsoft is going to do at Gamescom is just they're going to hold an Inside X, I guess, although they fired their Inside Xbox crew. So who knows what the hell they're going to do, but they'll probably just hold their little Inside Xbox with Major Nelson and AC Bongos and, and probably talk about stuff that we already know about, that we're not going to get any big announcements this year. So yeah, I don't think I don't think that's going to be a thing that they're going to do. Joe Parsons says, I'm starting to feel like Xbox has become the next Sega. Well, they're not going to go out of business. Xbox is making money, and that's what they care about. But if you mean like, yeah, they want to be third party, I do feel like Microsoft wants to be third party, and they're more specifically kind of catering towards being third party, right? Like they want to make money however they can. Phil Spencer says this time and time again, and I know that rhymes, but yeah, Phil Spencer wants to make money. That's all he cares about. He's going to continue to kind of do this thing where he just wants to, put his stuff on however many he can have, and I feel like, that's going to be his thing. That if he wants to do that, hey, he can do it. It's his world. Uh, I'm just saying, that's it's his world. He can do what he wants. For me personally, though, I'm a little bit disappointed with what they've done and their lack of kind of movement, with what they're able to achieve, right? So I just feel like I really do wish that they would do something, something different. And the fact that they refuse to do anything different or even acknowledge that there's a problem, that's a big problem as well, right? They don't acknowledge that there's a problem in the first party. Like he even refrained from mentioning, like he'll talk about it like, oh yeah, well, first party is really important. But how about you actually mentioned that your first party's been trash and you stop creating new games for multiple years? Like that's a problem. I feel like they really kind of let everybody down, and they refuse to even acknowledge that they've completely dropped the ball this entire generation. Like I don't understand it. So I hope that they realize the mistakes and completely kind of fix the mistakes within next generation, if they have a next generation per se. Like that's a worry of mine as well. Jake Noyce says, if we lose Xbox, who would be the competition? PC versus PlayStation. We need Xbox and PlayStation to do good. Otherwise, we would see a slowdown in progress in console. Well, listen, you could be right, but it's not PC versus PlayStation because PC gamers stay on PC for the most part. Console stay on console. That's why Microsoft should be pushing their console as well. It doesn't seem like they do. MKai28 says, you realize Phil is trying to keep his job. It's not his world. He's doing what Microsoft wants. Well, no, he's making his money. He could definitely say, hey, we should put a more focus on our console as well because some of this cloud stuff just is not ready yet. So Give Me Your Jacket says, half glass full gamer. Seriously, dude, I tried to stick by your channel, but you are way too extreme. Just like Luca pointed out, I'm done with this channel. I'll tune into the panel streams. Hey, man, that's fine. You're able to do what you want. I always say optional content is optional. I don't really look at it as extreme. I look at it as pointing out the facts. What if you could give me any kind of idea of what you're actually excited about from Microsoft with the Xbox One? Let me know. The facts are they haven't announced a new AAA IP since 2015. That's a fact. They're in last place. That's a fact. They canceled, their past 4 E3s have been okay, but they don't announce anything new. They rely heavily on Gears, Forza, and Halo, and that's a fact. They're pushing crossplay with PC. They're pushing xCloud and PC more than console. That's a fact. They took away all the exclusives on console. That's a fact. But they give exclusives to PC and mobile. That's a fact. So please tell me how I'm extreme. I get that you probably don't like hearing, complete negativity all the time. But at the same time, you've got to be able to understand where I'm coming from and at least respect the opinion. And, just saying. No, Luca's not. Look, she's not. Well, she's my friend. So, no, Titanfall 3 has been shelved for right now, simply for the fact that they're working on Apex Legend. That team is working on Apex. So, Keith says, crap, are you worried about the lack of Gears 5 campaign gameplay? The game is 3 months out. We have more Last of Us 2 gameplay, and it's a year away. Do you think there's something they're afraid of? You're the third person to ask me this on the stream today. I'm going to hold off judgment until I actually get to play it, but it is odd that we are 3 months away and we haven't seen any campaign stuff, and they keep saying the campaign's changed. So, yeah, I don't know. Mr. Twister, I tried to get MBG on, but he doesn't do he doesn't do collaborations apparently. So Let's see. Keep telling the truth, good or bad. Yeah, you know what? Listen, people are gonna do one thing or the other. You know what I mean? There's always gonna be people that are gonna. XVM says Outlast 3. Hey, it's called Blair Witch now, bro. I don't know. Uh, I think Gears is gonna be fine. To be honest, I think Gears is gonna be completely fine. Dude, I reached out to MBG, but he doesn't do collaborations or podcasts. So, um, Jake Noy says, I love your content and unbiased opinion. I'm an Xbox fan, but have been pushed to PlayStation due to lack of games on Xbox. Forza is enough for me to buy Xbox, but I need more games. Exactly. Yeah, exactly. Griff. He says Crap has spent thousands of dollars on Xbox hardware and games. He can speak his mind. I think that's true. Chris Jones says, Crap, you're not a bad person. You just keep telling the truth and you don't people don't want to accept it. Here's the thing, man. That's exactly it, right? Like people can be if you're happy with Xbox, great, man. If you prefer or if you like smaller games or you have fun with and you're looking forward to Battletoads and Blair Witch, hey, more power to you. I'm speaking for myself being disappointed as a gamer with what Xbox has done this generation. That's all I can say, right? Like for me personally, I'm disappointed. If you're not, then I completely understand that as well, right? I feel like I've been let down. I've been thrown under the bus by the head of Xbox himself this generation. So I kind of know a little bit what I'm talking about. I just feel like for me, Xbox is turning into this thing that it's hard to follow. You know, like I'm with it right now because they do some pretty good stuff with the hardware, but at the same time, but I just feel like for me, it just doesn't make a lot of sense to stick with Xbox or to get Xbox next gen right away. I'll have to see how that works out for me. Depending on the game, like Microsoft could still sell me on their next Xbox with E3, right? But they didn't do it this E3. They definitely didn't sell me on their stuff this E3. That's for sure. That's for sure. I got to say that they definitely didn't do that. Like they had a chance to, right? I could have been all in, all hyped about Xbox. Oh man, Xbox is going to be great again. It's fantastic. But the fact of the matter is, they didn't do that. They didn't show off the game. They needed to show games, and they failed to do that. So unfortunately, you know, that's where I'm standing right now. So I really do. That's how I feel. You know what I mean? I can't help it. You know, I just can't help but feel a little bit let down. And look, I get it because and I listen, I don't like to get too personal. I know a lot of people don't like that or whatever, or it's YouTube or whatever. But I suffer from anxiety and depression and stuff like that too. I take medication for it. I use gaming as a way to kind of escape from that sometimes. And sometimes that's got me into trouble because I tend to maybe look towards the negative a little bit too much. But I just feel incredibly let down by what Microsoft has done. They've taken my hobby and kind of turned it into just stuff that I'm not a fan of. It's just they're not really, yeah, exactly, make Xbox great again. They're not doing what they used to do. Like I can't be like at the beginning of this generation, I was just happy-go-lucky guy, just having a damn fun time with Xbox, and now it's like they don't give a damn. They just literally do not care, and that's totally unfortunate to me. I really want them to just care again, and to and to make me. I want to be excited about gaming. That's it. I that's what I want. I want to be very, very excited about gaming again, and they haven't given me anything to be excited about yet. And I'm hoping that they do eventually, but so far nothing. I haven't really seen anything to get too amped about. The hardware, I guess, is cool, but at the same time, what good is the hardware without something new, right? Like, am I just going to get some Halo and Gear? I mean, I like those games, but why not give me something new as well to really show off what they can do? So if the rumor is true and they canceled Lockhart due to due to developers kind of requesting that, then where does that leave us? Like why were they so out of the loop with knowing developers wouldn't want that? So that would be my kind of question when it comes to what Microsoft is doing. Like they really, I feel like, needed to pay attention a little bit more to what people are actually saying and what they want. For me personally, anyway, I just feel like We've gotten to the point where we need new exclusives announced. We need new games announced. I'm tired of waiting. I get that it takes time, but you're telling me Microsoft, the company that's worth what, $1 trillion budget cap or whatever, or at the very least worth hundreds of billions of dollars, they spent $2.5 billion to lock down Minecraft, but you can't spend $5 million on making a Phantom Dust remake properly, right? Like there's something off with that, and I can't damage control that. That's very, very unfortunate. And I'm completely remiss with how bad they've actually gotten. Like I just really want them to sort of remember where they came from and do a good job for the fans that have been very loyal. Like I think I've been a very loyal fan, and they treat me like like crap, like I'm nothing, and they treat most of us like we're nothing. They handpick a few people for each year for fan fest or whatever, and you always find it funny, it's almost like the same people, you know um that's that's a big problem. It's almost always the same people that go, the same people, and it's always the ones that do nothing but praise Xbox all day long. Very, very unfortunate in my opinion. Adam says, I feel like Xbox is holding Rare hostage. It's such a waste of potential. Well, I've talked to the head of Rare. The problem is they're very happy. Rare's very happy. Craig Duncan is a good guy. I like Sea of Thieves, but they want to make new stuff. I get it, and they seem happy. I like people. Maybe in the past, Rare was held hostage, but I really do feel like, and I'm not going to sugarcoat this, I feel like their studios can do pretty much what they want. Rare is one of the few studios that has the ability to make new IP. Like the Coalition isn't going to go make a new IP. 343 isn't going to go make a new IP. Turn 10 isn't going to make a new IP. Rare is one of the few studios that they have that's not an IP factory, and they can do what they want. While they are cool, the likes of yeah. Well, you and I have different opinions of cool, next doc, but hey man, we're all entitled to our opinions. You know what I'm saying? Sea of Thieves AAA. I look at Sea of Thieves as AAA. If it's not, then holy crap, we really, really got next to nothing this generation, huh? The last new AAA IP would have been announced, I don't even know when, maybe 2014. Yeah, that's really, really bad if you kind of want to look at it that way. But I look at Sea of Thieves as being a AAA as a AAA game. Just the open world, the water. I think you can look at it graphically. I mean, I guess if those were more realistic graphics, people would look at it more as a AAA. But I think especially now, it's definitely a AAA game. We need those type of games, thankfully. The real Watiski says Gears 5 can't uphold Xbox fans. At this point, most of this core fan base has faded out. Well, listen, the core fan base, a lot of them have, like Gears is never going to be a game that's for casuals. That game is incredibly difficult. That game is very hardcore. If you don't know what you're doing, you will get slapped around. You will get worked, and that's not fun for a lot of people, right? I totally get it. Like when I go back to Gears, the funny part is I always feel like I get slapped, and then I'm like, this can't possibly be fun for the majority of people, right? Like that's how I feel about it. Like this can't really be fun, can it? You go in there and you get slapped around. Most people probably give it a try, get smacked, and then stop playing. And I don't blame them. The thing that I would say is, it really just kind of comes down to sticking with it. And what are they going to do? You know what I mean? So like, that's not a real casual game. Gears and Halo are definitely not casual games. Those are more hardcore. I suck at Halo while I'm pretty good at Gears. But yeah, those are both games for people that, they try very, very hard, and it takes a lot of skill to kind of get where you want to get with those games. And, bravo if you're good at those games, man. I know for a fact, like Halo, man, I've played that game since the beginning, and I just am I'm not great at it. I am not very good at it. I wish that I was good at. It is definitely a hardcore game for hardcore gamers, you know. Hey, hit the like button, guys. Closing in on 150 likes. I really do appreciate it. Top Dog says third party makes the best multiplayer games. Why flood the market with more of the same thing? We have enough as it is. Well, I feel like there is a need for more single player games, for sure. I don't mind, like, you know, the Gears and the Halos, you know, like I feel like Sony is going to do more multiplayer next gen, but I don't feel like Microsoft is going to do more single player next gen, right? So I feel like that's going to be kind of the difference there. I feel like one of them is going to attempt to do more of the thing that they're not great at, but one of them's not. So Microsoft has no need. They feel like everything's games as a service. If it's not games as a service, then screw it. And I look at things quite differently. You know, I think that it's definitely worth it to try to go out there and go outside of your, you know, to go outside and sort of get, you know, kind of push what you do. You know what I mean? Kind of put your, you know, they're not known for that. So why not go out there and push it, you know, push your boundaries a bit. Like Microsoft won't do that. If Microsoft doesn't believe that something can sell, you know, 5-10 million copies, they don't take the risk, you know, they don't, and they refuse to do that. So that's a little bit unfortunate, and something that's one of the things that I dislike about Microsoft. And you know, if you guys have followed me for any length of time, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. That's just something that pisses me off as an Xbox fan. But hopefully, you know, Microsoft can kind of rectify that in the future. I do feel like Fable might be something in the right direction there that we might see, but at the same time, you know, does it really matter? I'm not really sure it matters. Can I name one AAA multiplayer Sony exclusive? Let me think. Multiplayer, I guess. You know, I guess you can consider Killzone Shadowfall that. I don't really know. But yeah, you know, it's just one of those things. Hey, Toby, man, I never really look at the sub count as being something that makes me. I don't do videos to gain subs or lose subs. That's unfortunate. But if people don't like the truth or whatever, I never hide from it. You know, I'm not afraid to talk about it. You know, people don't like to hear the truth about Xbox, and they like to be coddled, and they like to be told little bedtime stories that make them feel good about Xbox. And there's plenty of channels that'll do that. Like I said, I never did this for any other reason than to talk my mind and to speak my mind about gaming and stuff like that. And I continue to do that, man. And I continue to do that. Last of Us did, Uncharted. I mean, those aren't really multiplayer games. It's hard saying what a multiplayer game is. Gran Turismo Sport is definitely a multiplayer focused game, though, and that game just came out a couple years ago. So I would say Gran Turismo Sport is like a multiplayer focused game that came out. You know, it's one of those things that they've done that, and they're coming out with that Predator multiplayer game. H1Z1 is a multiplayer game that's a console exclusive. Dude, I'm giving you examples right now, Seth. I'm as many as I can. Now, on the Xbox side, when was a single player only game that Microsoft has come out with that was AAA? And the only one that I can think of is Quantum Break and Sunset Overdrive. Although Sunset Overdrive had a multiplayer component, I'll still give it a single player pass. So 2014 for that, and then 2016 for Quantum Break, even though Quantum Break was announced in 2013 at the original Xbox reveal. The narrative that Xbox excels at, hold on, multiplayer is false and outdated. It's a legacy truth from the OG Halo and Gears data era. This time has passed, but fanboys still repeat it to this day. Well, I think Xbox Live is still very powerful, right? You know, I think that it's still, you know, it's still powerful. It just really comes down to the fact that, you know, Microsoft is able to sort of push that. You know, they do have Azure, and that's something. They do have a pretty damn good controller. So I think that's cool as well. So it really just kind of depends. Do I wear Sony underwear? And if you do I crap in them? No, I don't. Sony underwear? No. Lord, no. I don't rep any brand that wise, you know, in that way, you know. So it's just one of those things that I don't do. But you guys, you know, you guys are funny. I like the jokes, and I think you guys have been great. Please Please like it. Yoshida says, "Are you ready to sign the exclusive PlayStation contract?" Well, listen, I am a fan of gaming, so for me, it comes down to where the games are. That's where I want to be, where the good games are. So whoever has great games, I'm gonna be there. It is true that I was a huge Xbox fan to start this generation. It started to tail off when I started seeing kind of the direction that Microsoft wanted to go. Unfortunately, you can only do so much as a fan. I try to I try to get Microsoft to kind of change, or try to talk to the executives or whatever, but they literally don't care what I have to say. It would take a mass group of people to sort of come together and to kind of vote with their wallet or whatever, uh, for them to ever want to like change or listen. And I fear my main fear for next generation is Microsoft betting all their money on xCloud, right? Like they think xCloud is just going to be amazing. And if it's not amazing, right, and fails, where does that leave the Xbox brand? That is my main fear. Are they tying the Xbox brand to xCloud? And if xCloud fails, they're out of the console business. Like that's something that I worry about. I think that a lot of Xbox fans should also worry about. For me personally, like I said, I definitely do worry about it, and I wouldn't put it past Microsoft to close up shop if that happens. Carlos says being loyal gives you nothing. 100% right, man. You literally get nothing. Surge melee combat type, it's fun. Maybe I don't know. I have the Surge, but I haven't really played it much. Next doc says they're pushing Xbox to be a third-party app. Yeah, I can't really deny that. If you ask me, well, which one would you get if you can only get one? Because these consoles are going to be like $500 each. I highly suggest buying the PlayStation 5. Why not? You're going to get exclusives over there. You're going to get great content with Xbox. I don't even know what the hell you're going to get, to be honest with you. Who knows? We don't know. That's the thing. Xbox is kind of, we have no idea, and that is a bit of a problem. As far as I could tell, the fact that we don't know what we're gonna get, that's the big problem. They're not really giving us anything to look forward to. They continually just kind of crap on us and say, well, next year. Like, how many years do we got to wait to get some kind of new announcement from Microsoft? Like, I feel like it's sort of ridiculous, and they literally just don't care, though. So that's always been my kind of problem lately, the last few years. They're like, wait until next year, wait until next year, wait until next year. And then it's like, are we actually going to get something or no? Like that's, how can we trust that we're going to actually get something next year? You've said that the last few years. Why not actually give us something for next year, or give us something this year? Tease something, give us some kind of a trailer, some kind of teaser, something that can, get people excited about what's coming. Because I feel like right now there is literally no reason to be excited about any of this stuff. So, just in my opinion, anyway, I would love to be excited about what Microsoft is doing. I can't do it right now. Mooch isn't here, man. He'll be here tonight for Xbox Nation. We're going to be doing, Xbox Nation tonight. I think the whole crew will be here. We're going to talk about, I only talked about a couple subjects tonight, but there's a lot of other stuff to talk about and stuff like that. Let's see. Paige says, thanks for being so open and honest with us and all the negative around Xbox. How we do next gen, because we don't know that exactly. Like, just because they're saying, hey, we're going to do better, and we bought some studios, that doesn't mean anything if you haven't been able to actually prove it. So tonight at 8 p.m. Eastern, we're going to be doing Xbox Nation. Hey, hit the like button, guys. We're almost at 150. I would appreciate it. Yes, Jake Noyce says, why should we be loyal to any company? Just give us games, right? I agree 100%. Give us games. Give us something. I think that's exactly what we want at this particular time. So yeah, I'm all about that. that life, man. I want something great for my Xbox, and I don't think that's too much to ask for. I just feel like Microsoft has kind of continually let us down a little bit in that area, and so hopefully they will actually go out and listen and pay attention a little bit to what some of us are saying instead of just the ones that are like, oh, Microsoft are amazing, everything they do is brilliant, right? Like not everything they do is brilliant. So that's just how I feel about it. They kind of let us down. I still have some hope, but I don't have a ton of hope. You know what I mean? It's like, how can you, when they seem to continually put every single tweet, every single story, everything that they do is basically PC or xCloud related, and that kind of bums me out. So I would love to see what they could do in the future, but right now I'm just not exactly sold on what they're doing, and that's it's up to them to kind of sell themselves to me as a consumer. They did it with the Xbox One, but they have not done it with the next generation. They did it with the Xbox One because of games, right? And it's going to take more than services to get me on board with what they're trying to do. So, with that being said, man, I think you guys have been absolutely incredible. Thank you guys for rocking out with me again tonight, 8 p.m. Eastern. Is going to be a great time. Well, listen, BK Beds guy says they don't have to listen because you give them your money no matter what. There's no incentive. Well, that stops now. Yeah. Swiggerty says, Crap, do you think we'll hear more official stuff about next gen before 2020? Yes, we're going to continually hear about what they're going to be offering next gen and beyond that. So let me know what you guys think. Thank you guys very much for rocking out with me. I appreciate it. Impromptu kind of session. Appreciate you guys. Like it, share it out, subscribe if you haven't already, hit the bell. Rack them up. Peace out, you guys. Later.